Welcome to another episode of Willow's Beyond the Gym, a very special episode where we're talking Peak2Park, our charity event where has been going for now 20 years, where it's all about movement, a 10K and a 4K, and connecting with the community. And we're lucky enough to join us today is the naming rights sponsors, CEO and Managing Director, Troy Parsons. Welcome, Troy.
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you, mate.
You too.
This feels a bit different. You and I just having a chat and just relaxing in front of the camera. Once again, thank you so much for being naming rights sponsor. Your fourth year, Peak2Park. It's a massive investment, and we're really appreciative, and it's so good for the community. What I'm going to start with today, though, is your journey with Optimise Health. I know it's a big story, but it's an inspiring one. Would you like to share a little bit about your journey with Optimise?
It's a long. How long have we got? Well, no, look,
we're short. No,
actually, we just had a lunch today up at Optimise to acknowledge and celebrate the first guy I hired back in 2004.
Wow!
And so, so it's 20 years this week, and so I think that almost summarises the Optimise Health journey. I moved up here from Brizzy end of 2000 with the desire to buy into this business. I was given that opportunity to come up, and 1st of July 2004 bought the business. Bought it for 80K with a loan from my grandmother because banks wouldn't loan me the money, even though I asked all of them at least twice, and apparently a HEX debt and a credit card loan, and the rest doesn't lend themselves favourably with the banks. And so bought the business, and later that year I hired the first bloke, which was Sam, and 20 years later he's still with us. Nice. And so it's been an amazing journey from a two-person show to a team of 30 now, and over time just really fell in love with Toowoomba and really fell in love with the community, and that's what Optimise is all about. It's like helping the community around us to go from pain to performance, and performance means something different to everyone. And whether it's someone who's elite or a child or a grandparent who wants to play with their grandkids, and that's one of the things that really attracted us to Peak2Park was the engagement with the community and getting the community moving. So it just seemed like a natural fit for us. Yeah. And so that's what Optimise Health has always been about.
That's excellent. And Peak2Park, as you say, is a great fit for Optimise because I know the business well. And your philosophy in treatment, I know you've got a number of pillars. Would you like to share that philosophy?
Look, I think too often we focus on, just the focus on the pain component, the physical component. But I think there's a lot to be said for the mind and the fuel, and then obviously the body. So we try and look at it, helping our community through, like I say, taking people from pain to performance on a personalised journey to them. And so initially we started off just niched in podiatry. Then over time we kind of expanded our scope, and we kind of got quite broad, and then we've really narrowed in now. And we've got, obviously podiatry, physio, Pilates, strength and conditioning, etc. And it's part of all of that with, as I said, we've got Sam who's been there 20 years and Anne-Marie 19. And we've got about 9 of our team have been there more than 10 years. And when you've got clinicians who have been in the same environment, who can continually develop themselves as clinicians, you start to look beyond the body, and that's when they're looking at the mind and the fuel component. So I like to think that we'd have a real holistic view in how we look at helping the people who come in to see us.
Yeah, it's an amazing way to look at it, and it's such a great fit for Peak2Park. And what excites me about this year is having Optimise on board again, but also with Momentum Mental Health. We had Chris earlier today, and we had a chat to Chris, and their philosophy is very similar. So we've really got a great fit this year where we've got your great team and community. We've also got Momentum Health, Momentum Mental Health community as well. And then Peak2Park is all about movement, all about the community, not so much about winning or times. It's around family and how much impact movement can have on total well-being. No one gets to sit in the Beyond the Gym chair without having a chat about their own well-being and their own philosophy on it. So we're going to flip things a little bit and get a little bit personal.
All right.
And just your personal well-being philosophies and also how you incorporate that into your everyday life.
I think That's why I had a conversation with a couple of guys yesterday about, what are we individually passionate about and what drives us. And for me, it's been an awakening around the journey of realising my potential. I was at a conference once and there was a speaker and he said, hell on earth is to meet the man I could have been. And I heard that and that sent like chills down my spine because for so long I kind of, and it's just me, I'm sure, like just thought if I'd just done that or if I'd said that or tried that, and I just always felt I was playing small and not just with, in my personal life, but business and health and everywhere. And I think over time I've just gone, look, I think we've got such an unlimited potential within us. And there's a formula that I love, which is basically performance equals potential less the interference. And I think to help people actually access their potential is reducing those interferences. So personally, I kind of initially I just did it through hard work, just try and outwork everyone. And it worked to a point until I just blew up. And so over time, I try to be a lot smarter about it. And so I think my philosophy is around health is, first of all, I'm a big believer in mind, body, and fuel. So it's not just physical. So like, I love the gym. I love being active. So I've got a PT. I love, trying to look after myself through my nutrition. So again, I work with holistic doc. And my PT actually helps me with meal planning. And then finally, the mind. And I think this is something where, I love the work that Chris is doing because I think, I think COVID brought so many things to the fore, right? I think mental health was always this dark secret that no one ever really wanted to admit was really around. And I think now it's actually brought it to light where, a lot more people are starting to embrace this. And, I work with a psych. I work, all things going well, speak to someone every week, because I think, if you want to get better at swimming, what do you get? A swimming coach. You want to get better at the gym, you go get a PT. You want to be a triathlon, you get a triathlon coach. But people are scared about, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are scared around embracing mental health. So my philosophy is, it's get an expert, but also look at it from a 360 perspective, where it's the mind, body, and the fuel, and always just try to do a little bit better than you were the day before.
Yeah.
And just probably the other Pete's, Troy's, like, as I turned 50 last year. Up to about 40, I was going pretty well. And then, the wheels started to fall off. And I think, too often that people go, I turned 40, then everything goes sour. So they stop doing what they used to do. And I had some really chronic back issues at that stage, but I just didn't want to, it was completely debilitating. So it gave me unique insight into the people I've been treating for years with chronic pain and going, this is full on. And it affects everything. Mood and to the point where people, you can get depressive, affects your relationships, affects your business, affects absolutely everything. And so I think, working on those, and I think, COVID again brought it to the fore, is that if we can look at how we can just optimize every little piece and get better than we were, and just, age is irrelevant. You're a couple of years younger than me, but now you hit 50, and I like to think that, why couldn't I still be doing what I'm doing now at 60?
Yeah.
And then, be that inspiration for the people I work with, the people we get to treat in our businesses, but also for my kids and my grandkids and that sort of thing. So that's my philosophy. Just keep doing it.
That's a great message. There's a couple of things in there that I want to retouch on. The quote that you mentioned, could you just repeat that?
That hell on earth is to meet the man I could have been.
Yeah, that's really powerful, isn't it? That really makes you think.
Still hits. And I think, and I say man because I used to say that all the time, but it's, it's obviously, the person. And again, it's that everyone's unique in their own, in the individual, but everyone's got like something more in them. And I think far too often that we just play small. And I think that, through, coaching or mentoring or being part of a community that can lift you, like, again, like Peak2Park, like you see all shapes and sizes moving there. And I think, that it's that community and the relationships that can help people do more than what they ever thought was possible. And that's a really cool thing.
And that's probably the other point I want to touch on. You talk about that quote, and people may hear that and think they have to do it all themselves. It's all about support, particularly around mental health, the discussions that people need to have. And it was great looking at the work that Momentum Mental Health do around being able to provide those services for free, and the money we're raising is allowing people to walk in and having conversations, even if they can't afford it, and getting support when they need it, particularly for males. And you and I talk a lot and pretty open with our conversations too. Having someone that you can talk to is so important. And for men particularly, probably society still sees it as a weakness. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And this is, when I get passionate about something, rightly or wrongly, it's probably wrongly, I can verge on being a bit evangelistic about it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to mental health and asking for help and, connecting with an expert, I literally had a conversation with a mate on the way here. He had recently, he's had a really tough time, not a really tough time, and just kept showing up, and people do until they can't.
Yeah.
And so I'm a believer in, get to versus have to. Don't wait till you have to talk to someone, or things have gone that bad that you helps thrust upon you. Do it when you get to do it. Make a choice around it. So he'd actually through some chats we had, he actually connected with a psych a couple of weeks ago, which really helped a lot. And he's got a follow-on coming up, which I was really pleased to hear. And I think it is something that will become more and more accepted. I think, it's a crazy world in there. It's like a drunken monkey, right? And everyone's got it.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's actually a sign of strength when you can actually put your hand up and go, do you know what? I can't read the label from inside the jar. I need some help. And I think it's important.
And it is changing in these conversations, and Peak2Park and the work that Momentum Mental Health do is so important, changing those conversations. I think in the last 12 months, talking to some of my own friends as well, and you and I talk about it, feeling comfortable enough to say, hey, yeah, I do go and see a psychologist. So I do need some help. Once upon a time, those conversations wouldn't have happened. So it's great to see it's slowly changing, but so much more work needs to be done. And talking to Chris earlier about the work that Momentum do, understanding the funds that they're doing, they've increased their services by 130% in the last 12 months.
Excellent.
And everything is free. So the money that people are raising by joining Peak2Park in 2025 are going to provide those services. And I think it's really important to know the business that's behind the naming rights, but also where that money is going to create the services. So there's such great conversations.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand with Peak2Park, it's not just about the first Sunday in March. It's the free running groups that Optimise provide leading up to it. It's understanding the work that Momentum are doing, and also accessing the free services that we're putting up there around meditation and movement. So really great chat around the mental health side, and it fits really well into our charity. Based on what you've spoken about, what are some of the major roadblocks that you've had yourself in your own wellbeing journey, but also what you see with patients? I know you don't treat every day now, but talking to your team, what are the types of roadblocks that you see?
There's a lot in that. Where do you want me to start?
Let's start with your own roadblocks.
Yes.
And some of your strategy around how to get around those. Like, you're a busy guy for starters. So let's start with time. Like, you are busy.
Yeah. Look, I think, the healthy person has, 100 wishes. The sick man has one. And I think that's something that I prioritise health, and haven't always. I've probably had some health things over the years that have made me really dial it in. I've actually had some, immuno problems this year that have really brought it large in the mirror, that I've got to really dial this in. And so I think, roadblocks, I think the mental health thing was a big thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I think without realising, like I used to wear working hard as a badge of honour. I thought that was just what you're meant to do, because that's what my parents did. They worked freaking hard. And I thought that's how you were valuable, how I'd be valuable. So I had to be at work before anyone showed up. I had to be there after they left, and I'd be there on the weekends. And I got to the point where it literally almost broke me. And I'm not sure if I had depression at that time or not. But I think at that stage, the roadblocks was my own mental process around what it was like to be valuable and to be good enough. So I think that was like the major roadblock for me.
Yeah.
It was I actually started to access help around that things started to shift. I think the other roadblocks around health was working so hard that and burning myself out that probably Johnny Walker and Jack Daniels and Benson Hedges and Marlborough Ice Blast were a sort of source of comfort for many, many years. And that I'd hide that away in the shadows and keep fronting up to work and doing a little bit of gym and thought everything was okay. So I think that was the big barriers. But as I've got older and realised that my body's not as resilient as it once was, that I've actually got to really start prioritising this stuff. So I'm always probably the best I've been for a long time, to be honest with you. I'm doing some things now at the gym that I've never actually done. And so I think that's been off the back of, working with the PT twice a week. I'm at the gym 4 to 5 times a week, 10,000 steps every day, eating well, to a plan, stopped drinking 2 months ago. And there's something in that.
Yeah.
I've heard this drink is not good for you. It's not. And so I think the roadblocks was just probably ignorance around how important health actually is. And over time, I've just gone, and when I work with anyone, I'm going to prioritise this stuff.
And that's really open and brave yourself to talk about those things, because a lot of people would look at a successful businessman, works in health, but still goes through the same roadblocks that the people you're treating, the people that walk in here at Willows every day. Everyone's got their stuff and their roadblocks. And seeking that help and understanding that each day you get up, just restart. If yesterday wasn't as good as you hoped, it's always a journey.
Yeah.
So there's some really good messages in there, and I hope that the people who are listening are taking those things away, that it is okay to ask for help, and it is okay not to succeed every single day.
Well, I think it's actually not okay not to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
That's the message we need to get out there, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's, that campaign that came out saying, is it okay? Like, amazing. And I think one of the beautiful things around Optimise Health is, the way we see it, like, and our philosophy is, like, we're just in the relationship business. The relationships with each other there, and we're kind of people growers. We try and grow our people, and like we've got people in there forever. It's a beautiful thing. So we grow our team. We help grow and look after our patients and do the same for our community. So we're in the relationship business. We just happen to do healthcare. And I think as part of that, and this is where, when people come in to see us as patients, like we're looking about whatever that physical ailment might be, but going, are you okay? Because, the mind component is such a powerful thing. And I think, whatever role you play in the community, you've got an obligation, a responsibility to try and look after the person next to you. And I think if people just kind of, they might not have it. I'm in a fortunate position where I've got a team of 30. We see 3,000 people every month. So obviously I've got a fair reach there, and I've got a coaching business where I do that with other businesses. Yep. But you might be just an army of one, and you might have a dog. You can walk down the street and smile, and you never know what the impact that smile might have on someone. Yeah. So I think no matter where we're at, look, there's an opportunity to help someone else, and I think the most powerful way to do that is to lead by example, and to do that is to actually ask for help. And that was a conversation that I had with my mate, who's typical proud bloke. Do you want to ask for help? And I said, when your kids run into trouble and they need help, what do you want them to do? What example would you like to set for them? And that really landed for him.
Yeah.
And hence he made a phone call.
That's a great question. That's a really good question. With Optimise Health, what's next? What sort of services? I know you're always thinking, you're always looking at different ways of servicing your community, and you talked about relationships. What sort of great things are you doing up the road there?
Well, but to be honest with you, I think we're actually doing less than we've ever done.
Yep.
I think for so many years, we tried so many things and had so many different iterations and tried different things and dead ends and climbed up these different ladders. And at one stage we had like 19 sites, etc. I think we've got really, really clear on who we are now. I think we've got really, really clear on, the people that we're there to help. And I think that we're really just how we can consolidate what we're doing and to do it in a way that people kind of come in and walk out going, that was excellent.
Yeah.
And so, like, we measure, net promoter score for every new patient, every third and fifth visit, where, they ask that question, how likely would you be to refer a friend or family member, and, rate us 0 to 10. 0 to 6, they hate us. We've done something wrong. So we've got to call them and find out what happened. 7 to 8, they're impartial. 9 to 10, they love you. And when in healthcare, anything above 70% is great. Like, we run at like 98%.
That's amazing.
We love that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're just going, how can we keep doing more of that? What, again, I think, and COVID was, it was an awful time for so many people, but a lot of good things came out of it. And I think what came out of it was it really heightened the awareness around healthcare, and how important it is. And so we've never been busier. Like, we're just, every month, we're just like busier. And so what we're having to do is look at how we can be more efficient to try and help as many people as we can with the resources we have. And that's something we're just getting a lot better at. So, honestly, we're just going to do now sharpen the sword and keep looking for how we can keep being a part of the community, which, being involved with Peak2Park, like, we absolutely love it. Look, the team gets so excited about, and this is the beautiful thing about doing this for 4 years. Like, the first year we kind of fumbled our way through. Second year we got better. Third year we got better. Fourth will be great. Like, last year was like one of the highlights of the year for everyone involved.
It's fantastic.
It was amazing. And next year will be bigger and better again. And I think that's why we're looking for every opportunity we can to just do more of that.
Yeah. I love how business reflects wellbeing journeys as well. It's the same sort of message. Get clear on what you want. Get clear on who you are.
Yeah.
The ability to do more with less, because we're all busy. And also different aspects. So there's pillars that you need to work on with your wellbeing. It's not just movement. It's not just mental. It's not just nutrition. How do we combine all of those things? And the 3 pillars of Peak2Park this year is the Peak2Park itself, our naming rights sponsor, Optimise, and our charity partner. All 3 are so connected in their values. So I'm so excited about 2025. And entries opened this week. There's already people that have entered. So
excellent.
Hopefully it will be a record year. I'm sure it's going to be. I look forward to having a couple more chats before the first weekend in March. But what we will put in the notes for the podcast is the Peak2Park website, so you know where you can enter. And also, if you want to get in touch with the Optimise Health team, we'll put their website in there. And obviously, Momentum Mental Health's website will be in there as well. We are so excited about 2025. I hope you got to know more about our naming rights sponsor, and also listen to the podcast about our charity partner, Momentum Mental Health, so you know exactly what this year's Peak2Park is all about. Troy, thanks so much for coming in today. Really appreciate your time. That was an excellent chat, mate. Thank you so much.
Enjoyed it. Thanks, mate.